Hello, John. How are you? You're the first one up. John says, hey, Meran. John, Syracuse 30. Hope all is well. Gonna soak up some knowledge tonight. Much love. Thank you very much. Glad that you're here too. And MW, give me a name. MWCND 17. Where'd you get that? That's says hello, Miran. Jan. Oh, Jan. There it is. That's your name. Okay, good. Well, it's January. I thought you were mentioning the month of the year. So, so I wasn't sure really what's going on here. Says hello, Miran. Jan. Jan. Male 19, Norway. You got to teach me how to say hello in Norwegian, or did you? Or somebody did, and I forgot. Bass, was it what? Bass or something? Or is it just hello? Atif says, oh, there it is. So what's, Mehran Jan. Oh, yeah, so you speak Farsi. I see. So that's not Jan, is not your name. It's not month of January. It's just Mehran Jan, dear Mehran. Okay, I got it. So your name is Ali. All right. All right. You're Persian. Okay, got it. Got it. You cheeky you. I mean, Norwegian, Norway and all that. And then, so authentically, instead of Norway, say Norge. and then I thought, well, it's been born 5 generations in Norway. So now we know the truth. And Atif says, Atif says, male in New York City is 38. Hi, Meran. Nice to see you again. Good to see you as well. And thanks for being here. Atif says, you've been doing a lot of live sessions lately. That's great. Yeah, it is great because it pretty much makes me feel like I'm doing something. At the same time, I really feel for you guys, all of you, whether you're going through hardship of breakups that imbalances you, or whether you're going through hardship of challenge of OCD or HOCD or any of the subsets of OCD, that perhaps some of my videos could be helpful, and the links of the psychotherapists and psychologists and neuroscientists underneath my videos can be helpful. And my experience of and also research and notations could also be of assistance to you. So I find it exhilarating if I can allocate time and to hold these discussions, that you guys will feel there is support and resources available, as when we're going through challenges, we don't really see outside of the topic of the challenge. And if we are bombarded and influenced by our system to feel or think or conclude in such a way without knowing the nitty-gritties of why system is behaving this way, then we may actually believe the bullshit that we are being bombarded with. Whether it's devastation and believe that we are not good enough after a breakup in relationship, or whether it's intrusive thoughts of some kind, this kind or that kind or any kind, it's just bamboozling and not productive and misleading. So through education, philosophy, and research of the ponders of hundreds, if not thousand years ago, and including the help of the neuroscience and the modern scientific experiments and evidences by the neurosurgeons and discoverers and scientists, we try to bring clarity to you, and hopefully that will put you on a path to do more research yourself, or just simply follow what's being discussed and the links of the psychotherapists and psychologists and neuroscientists and scientists that has been provided would be useful to you, and then you'll just move on with knowledge brings power, and through that knowledge you move on and attend to your life and enjoy your life. Bring that balance that you all deserve back into your life. So that's my motivation. And MW says, I live in Norway. I've been here for 13 years. Ah, I see. Atif says, Mehran, do you follow any particular religion? Just curious. No, I don't. I did. I was born and raised in a Muslim country. And, we were Muslim as we were born in a country and everybody's Muslim, you're Muslim. But we were never, my family was never fanatically into anything. We believed in God, and sometimes I prayed when I was a kid, and that was the extent of it. Very normal, balanced way of having a religion, having a God, and having um, duty and responsibility to elevate yourself, be a good person, adhere to some, proper behavior and so on, and manners and morals. That was the extent of it, but never anything, more than what religion is good for. But from, I guess, adulthood, well, I was introduced to other philosophies, such as Eastern philosophies, energy and universe and nature and all that, and it resonated better with me. And my alliance is with the universe and the energy of the nature and so on. So while I appreciate this whole concept of the religion, which I believe they're all in it to make people better people and elevate their principles and make better entities, sentient entities out of them. And they all mean to, bring about balance and brotherhood and kindness and compassion. But yet they're defeating their own purposes. They're now against each other's throat. And this one says, oh, join me. I am better than the other religion. And the other one says, no, join me. That one is shit. So they've kind of lost their holy, supposedly, motivation. And they've fallen into hands of a bunch of people who, for their own personal domination and control, and just it's not what I understood what religion is for. I don't care what religion you belong to, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, or whatever else is there. It doesn't matter. If you're actually going to use that teaching to make yourself a better person, more compassionate, more loving, become a better role model, bring more manners and morals into the life of yourself and others, treat other people better than you would have, and affect the societies and communities you live in a more positive fashion, and help to make this world a better place. Well, it doesn't matter to me what religion you are or if you have any religion, because ultimate purpose of the religion is to make you a better person, so that you become closer to that what you believe your godhood, your characteristics of your God is. So we get closer to that kind of echelon of characteristics and standards. So whether that happens through this religion, that religion, you become that enlightened person, wonderful person, or it happens through your consciousness and without any religion, doesn't matter. The outcome is important, not which path you're really taking, as long as that path is not going to be harming others. But to me, it looks like that religions today, in most cases, become commercial, and they're used for political gains. They're used for recruiting. They're used to, drumming up against another religion. So it's, to me, it's just it's separating humans. It's supposed to be bringing us all closer to each other, but they're being used to separate us. Oh, that one is Muslim. Oh, that one is Christian. Oh, that one is Jewish. Oh, that one is, Hindu. Or that one. What the fuck? I mean, how much are we going to be manipulated? So that's why I think all religions are good. This is my position. If they're used for good purposes, and if they are balanced and helping humanity and bring more compassion and love into the picture, into the whole, our species. And all religions are shit if they're not complying to that, what makes us all respectable, special, compassionate, kind, fair judge, helpful, good role models, and all that, so forth. Considerate. So if it's for the good of humanity, okay. I don't care what religion you have. If it's harming the humanity, not okay. I don't care what religion it is. So there it is. That's my official position. Official and unofficial. So we have, who asked that involved question? Atif. Atif says, oh my God, your explanation of why your presence here helps us reminded me of how much your input helped me 3 years ago after a breakup that devastated me. Oh, delighted to hear that. I'm glad that it was helpful to you. That makes it all worthwhile. And Abhi says, how are you? Hello, Abhi. How are you? Guys, don't forget the protocol. I know most of you, but I forget. Like John up there says, John Syracuse 30, and that's good. And Ali says, male 19 Norway. That's great. You see, please do include that. Even though I know you for a long time, I don't remember age and all that, so forth. And NW says, how many years have you been in Canada, Mehran? Well, I think it's 41 years now. I was only 24 years when I immigrated to Canada. My dad sent me to university in the States when I was almost 18, not quite. And then I went back to Iran. When I finished university, I went to military. I became a second lieutenant in the infantry division. That was every university educated guy it was compulsory. You had to go to military. So I did, and I got my star, and then we would be let go. And we were supposed to, after training, complete the period through working in our field of study in some company or factory, a special training, a special program for university graduates. But then revolution took place, and I didn't have to finish the whole working period of it in my field as with the uniform. But we got our 1-star thingy, pass all the tests and trainings and all that, and then that's it. Then 9 months after the revolution, I immigrated, and that was it. So that was the last time I saw Iran, 41 years ago. I haven't been back since then. Aman says 19, male, India. Let's see, why are you held for review every time? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's constant like that. So Atif says, I had to actively search for you this year to find you again and see how much I've grown, since it is quite remarkable. Thank you. I'm glad that you. But why did you have to actively search? Like I'm not visible that easily, right? That's amazing. Uh, Aman, make your comments again because I wanted to see if I can open, like make it without holding your messages, and suddenly it has deleted your messages. Oh, here it is. No, don't worry. I can undelete it here. Okay. It's somehow something is screwy. I don't know what's wrong. Atif says, thank you for taking our question. My pleasure, Atif. Aman says, what to do if somebody is not trying to understand our idea or suggestion in the group project? He and me are led, so we do decision, but he won't even try to listen to it. He's new in such kind of projects, but he's still not trying to listen to me for changes because he have huge ego to even consider to understand others' concept. And how to argue then in that situation? No, you simply don't argue. Everybody's sitting there, right? And he wants to push his opinion, and you think that there's some changes to be made. So the best thing to do is when everybody else is available, they say, look, you and I are chosen to lead this group, but the idea and direction of our supposed leadership or our suggestions should be toward bringing better results for our group as a whole. So the group, this is a democracy, so the group must vote on what path they should have an input in our ideas. We can't just say, this is how it is and it should be, or you say this is how it is and it should be. Then where are they coming from? They're also participating in this group. They're part of this group, so they have a say. So therefore, I'm suggesting for us to take a vote. You present your case why you think we should follow this path, and I present my case and I say why we should follow this path, and everybody votes on it or puts their input, and we all together decide. And then if they can't decide, then you and I will decide as leaders. But otherwise, you trying to satisfy your ego, or I try to push my views on, it's counterproductive, because who are we fooling? 5 minds is better than 1 or 2, so they each are smart and intelligent and intellectual. You say that in front of them, so they all say, oh, this guy thinks we're smart and intellectual and intelligent, so they will be inclined to agree with your idea of listening, discussing, exploring, and deciding, and not just decide, agree to whatever he or you say. So discuss it this way in front of everybody, and then you would have no choice. If he says, no, that's what I said, so why? We're no smarter than they are. We just happen to maybe be chosen that way. That's all. Maybe a little bit here and there. But we're not smarter. We just know how to do it, maybe. So let's don't disrespect our group, and let's have everybody included and participate all together. We're a team. We're stronger as a whole. And you talk like this, everybody else will shit on him if he doesn't listen. All right. And HJG says, hi, Mehran, this is Howard in New Jersey. Oh, my goodness. Hello, Howard. He says, I understand that many of us miss our exes because of desire. My question is, what is it about us that are treating desire as the most important aspect? Very good question. Very good question. You know, before I answer this question, because it's the beginning of our program, we have enough time to tell you this anecdote. I don't know if you guys have heard about Nasreddin. Nasreddin was a Turkish philosopher about 1,000 years ago. And he used to go around the country, city by city, and with his camel driver. Like he would be sitting on the camel, and the camel driver would be carrying the camel, take care of the camel, and take care of the stuff that had to be taken care of during the trip. And they would go from city to city, and Nasreddin would go on the podium and would give a speech about a certain philosophical topic, and then of course then they would go to the next city. They went to about 10, 11 city, and then the night before the 12th city or the 11th city, they were camping outside of that city, that tomorrow morning they would just enter the city and do the speech. And while they were camping and having their meal at night before they sleep, the camel driver says, Nasreddin, what you do is not really that important, because I can actually give the same speech. I can give the same speech as you do. Well, of course you could, because he's been hearing the same speech 10, 11 nights in a row, and he's now got it verbatim. So Nasreddin thinks about it, says, well, okay, next city, which is tomorrow, we're now outside of it, in the outskirt of it, they don't know me. So we switch places. You sit on the camel and you become Nasreddin, and I'll be the camel driver. I'll pull the camel. And you do the speech. And the camel driver, being confident that he has heard it 10 million times, so he said, sure, that would be fine. So tomorrow morning they get up and they, put their get-ups on and they go into the city. And of course the mayor of the city, it's an old village and big, old time, 1,000 years ago, comes in, people arrive and they all, greet him. And of course now they think the camel driver is the Nasreddin, because he's now being introduced as Nasreddin. And the actual camel driver right now, holding the camel, is Nasreddin. He goes and stands over there by the camel, and this camel driver, now posing as Nasreddin, goes on the podium. And he gives sure enough, as good a speech as Nasreddin himself. Everything just as Nasreddin, and great speech. Until it comes to question and answer, period. So somebody asks a question, and of course the camel driver doesn't have the intelligence or the knowledge or background, the research to be able to analyze what is being said and to be able to answer the question. So he says, what do I do? He says, well, this question is so simple that even my camel driver can answer. Come here and answer the question. So Nasreddin comes and answers. And so right now I'm looking for my camel driver, because that question is actually quite juicy, quite interesting. However, let's tackle it. So Howard says, I understand that many of us miss our exes because of our desire. We don't miss our exes because of desire. Our exes seem important because of our desire. What we miss is the order that we had with the ex. You know that. Certain mechanical process, certain routines that we were sharing, and that had created the routine of our day, and that routine had turned into an order, a rhythm of living, and that order, through that order, the mind finds security and rests without being agitated. Because in the order, in the occupation of what we're doing, in that occupation process, the mind finds security. Now that it's broken, that routine is broken, the order is broken, the mind doesn't have that security through occupation about those mechanical processes, things that you guys were doing through the order. Hence, it's imbalance. It's like a gypsy again. That's why it's looking around. It's not settled. It's unrelaxed. That's why it keeps going into the memory, looking for occupation through finding order. And in the memory, a copy of the order, how things used to be, is there. And since the brain doesn't understand any much difference between actuality and virtuality, so when it's in the memory, it encounters the order, how things used to be. And it finds security in it and wants to stay there and doesn't want to come out to the reality of the life and find and create new mechanical processes through which create new order and find security. Instead, stays in there. Like it gets depressed and stays in the memory because it feels secure and doesn't want to come out anywhere else, any challenge, because it feels secure there. So why should it come out? I just found it. I stay here. Even though it's going to harm my lifestyle, in actuality, I don't care, because for me, the brain, there is no actuality. What I feel, virtuality, is my actuality. I don't understand the difference. Yeah? So while it stays there, because the brain's neurons go through neuroplasticity, and it has to be through action, but because the brain doesn't understand the difference between action or virtual, while it's staying in there, it creates more of the same neuroplasticity towards and around how things used to be. So you become more and more interested in how things used to be. You become more and more dependent and rewire yourself instead of to new things by pursuing new things and creating new mechanical processes and creating new orders and advancing your life forward. You stay in there, and while you're staying there, you're ruminating on that, and by that rumination, you're creating a neuroplasticity on something that is dead. Something that cannot be actualized. You cannot actually bring it to life. So you're constantly, even though you find secure, you're constantly uncomfortable. Why? Because you cannot actually physically connect with it. And while you're in there, who's part of that order that you feel secure in it? The X. One of the actresses, one of the actors of that scenario, of that order, participants of that order, creators, co-creator of that order is the X. And the X is in the memory while you're busy and comfortable in the order. And because you feel comfortable, you think, and when you come out, you're not comfortable, you don't think that it's the order that makes you comfortable, and it's lack of the order when you come to the reality is what makes you feel weird. You think it's her because you recognize her as an actual entity that you had physical connection with. So in the memory, when you're feeling comfortable because of the order, you recognize her as an actuality. And then you think, oh, that's missing in my life. But actually the order is missing in your life. So it's not really the desire, but desire is a motivation to want something. Like, you're hungry, you have desire to satisfy your hunger. So you want an apple. So that desire has a role, but it's not the only reason that you miss your ex. You miss your ex because your life is no longer following. It's like a train is falling off the track. And instead of making new tracks, you say, I got to go back to the track. So I missed that track. So you got to change your perception of that track is not going to take you to your destination. That track actually was doomed to go, crash into the station because it was not continuing. So you got to be happy to be on a different track and create new tracks and have this train that has an engine and an energy go on somewhere else that is going to unleash itself and open up, rev the engine and let it go and find new places. Instead, you're trying to get back on the same track that it was doomed to go and hit the station. And you don't realize that because you're in the memory, and in the memory there was no actuality to recognize that the track is not going anywhere. Because in the memory, there was no station and the train hitting this station. The track was continuous because your relationship was continuous. But you're not recognizing the new changes and new destination ending for this track. That it's ended. You still want to be on that track thinking there's no ending to it. Because you're in the memory, looking at the track from the memory. Look at it from now, you will see it's not open. It's going to, crash into this station, Central Station. We've seen movies of it, don't you? So I hope that would kind of answer your question a bit. But on the other tangent, let's talk about, I know what you want to say, why this desire is so important. because our life is based on pain and pleasure. And how do we get rid of pain? We bring more pleasure. So we want to replace the pain with the pleasure. Instead of getting on a new track and finding new adventures, you just want to keep bringing the old pleasure back. You don't think that there's another pleasure that can actually bring balance to your life. You identify with that particular drug. Withdrawal from a relationship is no different than being hooked on a drug. If you are going through withdrawal symptoms in a drug, you want the same brand of drug. That's what's going to make you feel good. It's not like you've got a withdrawal symptom for a certain drug, I don't know, whatever it is, but you can't take another drug and feel good, not necessarily. You want the same thing, same brand. And same thing it is with women. When we're in a relationship, we want the same women, the same chemistry. We kind of we crave the same thing. Like it's like you love this food and you've been eating that food. You're not conditioned and used to having that food every day. Now you replace it with another food. This food is going to take care of your hunger, but you want the same brand. You want the same food. Even yogurt, if you're having yogurt every day, and then one day you go and say they don't have that, I don't know, XYZ yogurt. They have other yogurts. No, I don't want the other yogurts. Well, you haven't tried it. I don't care. I don't want it. I want that other yogurt that they don't have. So you feel depressed. Or, I used to have cinnamon bun and milk every morning I went to the office years ago, 35 years ago. And if, with all that excitement and hope, which shoots up dopamine, I'm left my home, I haven't had breakfast, and I said, I'll have breakfast in that cafe underneath the building. And I'm also thinking, I hope they have it. I hope they didn't run out of it. Because that's the brand I want, even though they have other stuff, croissants and scones and other goodies, but I want that. So if they don't have it, I crave that, even though food is available. There's other food. Same pretty much. Drug, food, habit. It's all about neuroscience of habit. You're now have turned the idea of being in a relationship, and every time you saw her, you were happy, and you had intimacy or interactions, and that gave you that boost of dopamine. So you had that feeling of need of interaction. Then when you met her or interacted with each other, you had that flow of dopamine. And then after a while, you were no longer necessarily were focusing on the relationship, while of course that was a very important part of it. But you were also being boosted with the fact that when I see her, I get dopamine. So now you had two reasons. You wanted to be with her, of course, your girlfriend, and the fact that when I see her, I get dopamine. So you kind of had a second reason for it. And then after a while, you keep seeing her and keep seeing her dopamine, and then you are now really focused on the dopamine, not just the relationship anymore, but also focus on the dopamine, because that's what makes you feel good. That's the chemical, a feel-good chemical. And then after a while, it becomes your habit. And no longer you're really just having relationship, the pleasantry of it, and the dopamine of it. It's also now habit, which overrides everything else, and you're focused on the habit. Now you have a habit withdrawal. I don't have my habit. So it's no longer about the cinnamon bun and the milk is not available. I feel hungry. Not necessarily. I can last till lunchtime, but I have a habit of having it every morning. It's like cigarette smoking. Many people can endure that not having a nicotine, plus the fact that it gets into the blood and they get used to it and so on and so forth. But also the action that they keep doing it gives them certain order, settles them down, because the mind, if they don't know how to bring their mind under their direction and focus, certain activities like cigarette smoking or eating gathers their mind and brings it here. And so they're using these habits and these behaviors in order to kind of get their agitated brain, agitated mind from all around the world and bring it here with the use of the smoking or the eating or whatever it is that collects their mind. So now for you, your mind is all over the place because it always was capable of focusing when she was around, the order, the security, the memory, and of course the dopamine and the habit and so on and so forth, all because you are looking for pleasure, and we all do. So we don't want the pain, we want the pleasure. And this was the pleasure. So why wouldn't you want it? Definitely. Desire is pleasure. Desire for something gives you pleasure. But we lose the sight of the fact that it's pleasure, but we don't focus on, okay, this pleasure was fine at one time, but this what gives me pleasure, is it still good for me? We lose the idea of that I still have to qualify the pleasure. You don't qualify the pleasure anymore. You qualify the pleasure maybe at the outset, the first beginning, 1 or 2 days or week. Is this person qualified to be my girlfriend? And once you already decided that she is, then after that, you're not asking that question anymore. You're not deciding if this pleasure is good for me. You just focus on the fact that it's pleasure, and I, human being, is built on pain and pleasure. And this is pleasure, so I want it. No longer you're judging the pleasure, which is very important always to reassess. Is this pleasure that makes me feel good, is it also good for me? That's very important. Is this cinnamon bun and yogurt that I'm having, or the cinnamon bun and milk yogurt, cinnamon bun and milk that I'm having, is it also good for me? Or too much sugar, too much caramel, lactose in the milk. So yes, it's tasty and pleasurable, but is it good for me? If it's not, I got to be able to tell that. And then move on to something that also tastes good and I can accept it and also is good for me. So the fact that the pleasure, it makes you feel good, is not enough and justified. Just because it makes you feel good is also good for you. So we got to be mindful of the fact that not everything that makes you feel good is good for you. So you have to make a decision that, okay, this made me feel good, and when I think of it, it makes me feel good, and all the analogy of the drugs and same brand and dopamine and habit and pain and pleasure and security and order and all that, okay, all that. But is it ultimately, after all that why I want it, but wanting it, is it good for me? That's the part that you haven't clearly decided. And once you do that, then you will override all the benefits of it, because it would be just like saying, okay, cocaine makes me feel, whatever it does. I've never tried it, never will. But when you question, in medical sense, scientifically, is cocaine good for me? Then the answer would help you to stop using cocaine because it's bad for you. But you're not focusing on if it's good for you or not. You're focused on the fact it gives you pleasure, and pleasure is not all pleasure. That's why I live, pleasure. So any pleasure is not justified. Anything that gives you pleasure is not necessarily mean that it's okay and safe or qualified to be used. You haven't gone there, and you pretty much never did go there. You touched on it, we talked about it, but you never made that conclusion that yes, you only focus on the fact that, but it makes me feel good. It's pleasure, and it was all good. You always focus on the pleasure, but never focused, is it qualified? Is it good for me? Is it good substance? That's the part that you're missing. All right. I hope that's helpful to you. Jennifer Casper says, hi, my name is Tristan. I'm 18. When I get stressed out and tired, I doubt my sexuality, and it makes it really difficult for me in my relationship. And I really don't know what to do with the thoughts. But thoughts don't even exist. There's nothing you need to do with them. Just, it's like saying, when I'm passing by a store to buy food, I see so many foods that they're rotten, the dates have passed. When I looked at the dates of them, this is best before, good till. And then you're asking, I don't know what to do with these foods. What do you mean what to do? The date is past. Ignore them. No good anymore. When something is no good, why should you consider them at all? If something is not your preference, why do you consider it at all? Where is your mandate of protecting what's sacred to you? Why is it that when you're walking in the street, you wear shoes in the snow that has got friction so you won't slip and fall? Because you want to protect yourself. You've got the duty to protect yourself from getting hurt or getting damaged or getting, falling. So you have a duty to protect yourself. When you want to eat some food, you pay attention if this food is safe. Am I allergic to it? Am I not allergic to it? Is it something that I want to eat? Do I feel hungry? You assess all that. You have a duty to protect what is good for you, what's the proper value for you, or what is not good for you. You have certain idea. You have preferences. And you go further out, you find that in life, you have certain goals, certain aspirations, and certain directions, and certain hopes, and what you want to accomplish and learn. And that's your address. The vehicle, you have a plan to get to what you want to accomplish, and that's your address. That's how you negotiate life. And you're going to protect that because that's how you decided your life is. And so there are other values in your life. Your manners, your morals, your faith, your gender, your sexuality, your inclination, your preferences. These are all what your identity is. Just like you have a duty to take care of yourself not to fall. Just like you have a duty to watch two sides of the street when you want to cross the street so no car will hit you. You have a duty to keep yourself safe from attacks that are coming from out there, whether knowingly or unknowingly, from other people's intentions towards you or from the utterings and the thoughts and suggestions that pop up in your own brain. The problem is that you think brain is you. So whatever comes to your mind, to your brain, you think, it must be me. No, it's not. Brain is totally different system, independent system. Brain is an apparatus that was added to you 40,000 years ago. But before 40,000 years ago, when this brain was added to you the way it is, as sophisticated as it is, you lived for 1,000,000 years. So there was a you, and then the apparatus of the brain was enhanced to put on top of you. It's a different system. It's a system that was added to you. It has its own way of functioning. What it comes to it and what it produces, it's not necessarily you. It's irrelevant to you. It's like saying my intestine that is part of me, what it does is exactly what I want it to be. No, it goes diarrhea. Do you think diarrhea is normal with you? No, you know it's not. And your preference is to have a hard stool. I'm getting a little medical here, graphic here, but I want to deliver something. So it is very clear for you that when your intestine is not functioning as it's supposed, as you're used to it, as you want it, as you prefer it, as you know it should for you, what is normal, when it's going into diarrhea episode, you are clear that this is not normal for you. And therefore, you do not consider it normal for you. So you do whatever you got to do to manage it until it actually is manageable and you get back to what you prefer, how you prefer your feelings to be. Yeah? Well, same thing. Brain is also another apparatus. It also malfunctions and gets to have diarrhea. Pop-up thoughts, irrelevant thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and every human being on earth has intrusive thoughts. Only when the part of the midbrain in the circle of striatum and in specific caudate nucleus, part of basal ganglia, when it malfunctions, which is responsible to shut down the intrusive thoughts as they show up based on knowing what your gender, your preferences, and inclination is, it shuts down intrusive thoughts, which is contrary to your values and to your inclination, to your gender. But when it's malfunctioning, it doesn't get that signal back to prefrontal cortex that, hey, no. This guy is heterosexual. These thoughts, he's not interested or she's not interested. When the signal doesn't get to frontal cortex, this idea, this suggestion, this malfunction, this pop-up thoughts that everybody gets intrusive thoughts, doesn't go away. It floats. It hovers. And because it keeps being there, you think, oh, it must mean something. Because my brain is showing it, and my brain is my intellect. No, your brain is not your intellect. Your brain is simply just another tool that has gone haywire. It's an electrical system. It's lots of neurons, and they, more than mechanical systems, they can malfunction. And therefore, by your behavior toward these intrusive thoughts, by not paying attention to it, by recognizing that they're intrusive thoughts, they're not your thoughts, they're brain's thoughts, they're intrusive thoughts, then you call them for what they are. That's OCD, it's not me. That's HOCD, it's not me. That's the brain, it's not me. That's the intrusive thought, it's not me. You recognize it, you call it for what it is, and then you continue your way according to your preferences, and you focus on what it is that you've always been used to and you prefer and you want it to be the way it should be. And then this behavior ignores this pop-up thought and suggestion, and the brain, after a while, you keep repeating this behavior, this ignoring attitude towards them, learns not to make these thoughts. It rewires yourself through neuroplasticity. And you add meditation and mindful exercises that it allows these behaviors to take shape and become neuroplasticity, because neuroplasticity doesn't take place when you're actually doing what it is that you're doing. It takes place when your mind is in restful state. It now sinks in and starts rewiring. So you got to have rest period, you got to have good sleep, you got to have meditation, you got to learn how to rest and enjoy and behave the way I said, and eventually you'll be able to manage it well. They show up less and less, and they stop, and if they show up again, you know what it is, and you just bang into management of it, because knowledge makes you expert in negotiating the potholes. Just like you're driving from point A to point E, there's garbage and shit and debris, but you know how to maneuver, and you know exactly where things are, and you avoid them, and you become expert, and it becomes automatic. You won't even notice the garbage and debris, and after a while you won't even notice these things being there. And if being there, they say, okay, be there. It's thoughts. Who gives a shit? And that's how you deal with it. That's how you roll, Jennifer. Okay, I'm sorry, not Jennifer. Tristan. Okay, I hope that was helpful to you. And Atif says, right, I had to research breakups and some other words to find you. Really? What words did you use? Maybe I can incorporate them, because if those words are not common words, or some things that I've missed to use them, that's why people don't find me. Says it was only because I was specifically looking for you that I found your channel. Oh, interesting. NW says, Mehran, I'm sorry if I can't not being your live because I have a huge homework that I need to do before Monday. Yeah, go for it. I hope to see you in next live. Take care of yourself and have a good day. Yeah, of course. Thank you for sure. And Heath Campbell says, my name is Heath and I am from Australia. Ah, good day, mate. See, I speak Australian. Didn't you know? It's a very intelligent channel here. So I really appreciate your insight and advice about breakups. You're quite welcome. And Heath says, I keep having graphic visions of my ex in sexual situations with other people. Yeah, that's normal. Of course, you're possessive, and naturally, every heterosexual male about his ex feels that way. It's just the way we are programmed. And then, but in time, you realize that, okay, I only want to pay attention to someone who actually pays attention to me. If she's not interested, I'm not going to unleash my attention. I just keep it for somebody who actually appreciates my attention. And that's going to take a bit of a time, but you will see that's the right thing to do. And he says, oh, is it he or she? What about, hey, why don't you give me gender and age? And, oh, yeah, well, yeah. And gender, age, and I know the Australia, but gender and age, I need that. Says, I keep having graphic visions of my ex in sexual situations with other people. And as much as I'm surviving the thoughts, I would like for them to go away quicker than they are. Well, just, understand that this is a fact. When you face the actuality, face the fact, there would be no fear. You're fearful because you don't want it to happen, and you think, oh, by being fearful, you will not admit that it can happen. Therefore, it won't happen, and you have this turmoil. So fuck it. It's her life. She wants to fuck other guys. Go do it. I don't give a shit. Why do you go? I know. You're going to say, wow, how could I not give a shit? She's goddess. Okay, you're just horny. It's the truth. But you just say, look, if she's not for me, what am I protecting? She doesn't want me to protect her. It's not like other people are after her and she's running away. She says, please come and save me. She says she's actually living in a civilized nation and she chooses to have these partners or whatever, if it's true. If it's your visions or if it's actually happening. But you got to come to terms with the fact that this is actually going to happen if it hasn't happened, or if it has already happened, well, it will continue happening because that was happening with you too. You were, together and you were, doing things to each other. So if she's going to be in another relationship, she's going to do those things too. So don't be afraid of it. In fact, imagine her doing all kind of things to other, to her next boyfriend. Just get that over your system. Okay. Why? Because it's a thought. Whether you're thinking or you don't think it, it doesn't mean it's going to happen or not going to happen. It's up to her. It's not bothering you. It's not about you. It's a thought. Thought doesn't have any actuality. It's a thought. Don't be afraid of a thought because the thought itself doesn't exist. It's bullshit. It's images. It doesn't have any actuality to it. That doesn't mean that, oh, then you're safe, it's not going to happen. No, she may be actually fucking right now with somebody. Right now. Be okay with it because she's not your responsibility. She's not your girlfriend anymore. She's an independent person. It's her responsibility to take care of herself now, not yours. And it's your ego says, oh, my ego is mine. No, if she was yours, she would be right there with you. Because she's not there, she doesn't pay attention to you, she's not yours, and you have no responsibility towards her. So get over that and focus on all the amazing, beautiful girls in Australia and just focus on new relationship and new friendships and just move yourself out of that mentality. All right, and refer to the stuff that I said here about when I was talking to Howard, when this is uploaded again, and then you will have more, because then I have to repeat the whole thing. And Cebotable says female, 30, Canada. Oh my goodness, Canadian, fellow Canadian, eh? Good to see you here, dear. Thank you for the protocol. It's the first time you're here, I believe, but you know the protocol. Obviously, you've been hearing this before. Wow, we are so big and popular. Five whole people are here. What's going on, guys? Why is it that we are not noticeable? What's going on? Do me a favor, guys. Promote the channel on your social media. Honestly. I mean, it's so necessary. And unless you promote it, we may actually cease to exist. Here's the link of 1 minute and 47 seconds. So if you wouldn't mind, paste this in your social media and help the channel to know, to announce that we have a live stream, and so they will join us, and then maybe they could see the benefit to them and subscribe and so on and so forth. All right. Cartouse says, going through my final proceedings of divorce this month, feeling anxious and restless. Why? It's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. She thinks she's going to have it better somewhere else. Let her go. If you have children, just make sure you'll remain to be the best father you can be to your children. Don't lose contact with them. Be there. Take them to your heart. Do homework with them. Do study with them. Do sports with them. Go do activities with them. Whatever it is possible for you to do. Don't think because you and your wife are divorcing, anything should change between you and the children. And talk to your wife and say, listen, this is a decision that we made, but this is not the decision that they are agreeing with or made. We must create that loving atmosphere, safe atmosphere, so they know they have a mother and it's not going to be replaced by me. I'm not going to bring girlfriends to my home, especially if they're kids. And you don't bring guys in your home. Let the children feel they have a father, they have a mother, they just happen not to be together right now, but nobody's replacing them. That gives them that psychological security that you don't want to take away from them, and you have no fucking right to take that away from them. Either one of you. So focus on that. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, she wants to divorce, no big deal. And I don't know how old you are. Oh, guys, what the hell is going on? Oh, cartoon. So here it is. 30, male, India. Okay. Yeah, and if you don't have children, then it's even easier than that. No big deal. And Howard says, hi, this is Howard. Thanks for the quality answer. Yes, I'm working on the harmful byproduct the pleasure had on me. Yes, I certainly missed the order the ex provided. I'm working on breaking that. Good for you. Good for you. You know, you can break it like this. You don't have to really work on it too much, just because it's either that or you. And you're more important than any idea of a relationship, because that's what it is. Fuck it. Take care of yourself. And find things you love in life. And then see how things, develop in, other relationships. Okay, guys, looks like we've answered all the questions, and we only have 7 people now, so no sense for me to hang around anymore. It's been 1 hour and 1 minute, so I guess I'll just maybe go take a walk by the beach as I usually do, or maybe play some chess. Until next time. I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to talk to you again. From time to time, I'll have some kind of extraordinary discussions, live streams, other than the Saturdays 1 p.m. and Saturdays 9 p.m. Vancouver time. Could be Wednesday evening, or could be, I don't know, every night. I don't know, but I will try to, because I understand there's lockdowns all over the world again, here and there. So perhaps that would be time that we can keep each other company and just see if I can be of some help somewhere in your life. So I look forward to talking to you again. In the meantime, be good to yourself and the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.